What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Chuds BBQ. My name is Bradley Robinson, and today I'm going to show you how I made this. Beautiful, delicious, smoky, juicy, garlicky, tender, amazing smoked leg of lamb. Coming up. This is some meat. Pat it dry. And what I got here is a leg of lamb, a boneless leg of lamb. Got a nice little fat cap on there, all tied up with this nice little string. And for some reason, I had a really hard time finding a boneless leg of lamb, which is unusual because usually they're pretty readily available. But I went to 3 different grocery stores, 2 Costco's, and a Sprouts, and I couldn't find them anywhere. Then I went to my local butcher shop down the street right by the Chud shop called Longhorn Meat Market, and they had a few in their freezer, which is where I got this one. But you can get these boneless or bone-in. I like the boneless ones just because we can slice them up at the end for a nice roast, kind of like a prime rib, makes for a good presentation and easy serving. The bone-in ones are great as well. You just got to carve it off the bone, or you could also remove the bone. It's only one bone, very easy to do. But taking a look at this one, I think it weighs right around 4 pounds, so decent size on it. And I'm going to take this netting off just to take a closer look at it. And it's looking pretty good. Looks like we're missing a chunk from this side because usually these are a little bit bigger, but I think when they were removing the bone, they just lobbed it into 2 smaller pieces instead of one big one. But that is fine. We still should end up with some lovely sliced bits of lamb. Do have this membrane on the back, which I suppose we could take off if we felt like it. Might as well, because I'm back here. Although I don't think it makes that big a deal. But just getting it cleaned up a little bit, make it look nice and pretty. But other than that, really not much to do to this thing. Take a look at the fat cap here. Everything seems to look pretty good. Little flappy poo right there we can zip off. Another kind of loose piece right here. But I'm not going to be too picky about it, so really all we need to do is get this bad boy seasoned up. And to do that, my rub of choice today is some good old-fashioned Chuds BBQ poultry rub. And yes, this was designed with poultry in mind, but it should work out perfectly on some lamb, especially with the flavor profiles we're going with today, because it's got some herbs in there, a little bit of lemon powder in there for some brightness and acidity. Of course, it's salty. It's an all-purpose rub. Oh, it smells so good. Love this stuff. But just go on with a nice heavy coating. This is a big, thick piece of meat. It can take a lot of seasoning, and this rub isn't exactly high sodium, so we can really go on with basically as much that will stick, and it should work out perfectly. But of course, any seasoning you like. I know Hardcore Carnivore makes one specifically for game meats like this. That is very tasty. Good old-fashioned salt and pepper would work. Whatever your heart desires, folks. Get that inside. But especially for lamb that does have a bit of that funky flavor that some people don't like, I think it's a great time to go on with a little bit more complex of a rub than just salt and pepper. Flip it over. Not using any binders today, but just a nice heavy coating, top, bottom, and of course, we're not going to forget the sides, because that would ruin Easter. And just like that, all rubbed down, looking absolutely beautiful, smelling really good, loving the color of that rub. I also did keep the little mesh bag thing here in case we want to put that back in this to maintain its shape. But for now, I'm going to park it in the fridge overnight. It looks like a really lopsided brisket. And as usual, a dry brine is not necessary. We could throw this on the pit right now, and I'm sure it would still be absolutely fantastic. But whenever you got the foresight to do a dry brine, especially on a big thick roast like this, I think it's usually a good idea. It's going to let all that salt penetrate into the meat, giving us flavor all the way throughout. And especially because there's a lot of dried herbs and stuff in this rub, it'll give that time to hydrate and bloom as well. So just like this, on a wire rack, into the fridge, uncovered, this goes overnight. And one other thing I'm going to knock out tonight is some garlic confit. And that's because inserting cloves of garlic into a leg of lamb is a very common thing. I see a lot of chefs doing it all the time. But my main concern is that we're only taking that leg of lamb up to about 130 internal for a nice medium rare. And I'm worried that this big, thick piece of garlic won't cook down enough because I don't want to be slicing into a nice, rosy, medium rare chunk of lamb and have some uncooked garlic in there. So I'm going to cook it down first, which should be very tasty. So into a pot, I'm going in with a whole bunch of butter, but you could use whatever fat you like. You know, duck fat would be good. I was really close to doing beef tallow, but I think butter is the way to go because we're going to use this again a little later on in the recipe. So I'm going to make a whole bunch. And I think clarified butter would probably make more sense here because these milk solids might burn while we're cooking up that garlic, but you know what? If we end up with a brown butter, I'm fine with it. So we're going to get this melted down. And once nice and melted, in we go with our garlic. And yeah, I'm making a lot of garlic because probably not going to use all this for this recipe, but this stuff is great to have on hand. Super tasty. So now we're just going to cook this for probably about 10 minutes or so. And after about 10-15 minutes, these are looking beautiful. They're floating, nice golden brown on there, nothing too dark. Just kept this on a low simmer. So now we're going to go ahead and pull these out and pop them into our little container over here. But just look at that. Oh, it looks so good. I just want to put it on a piece of toast. And just like that, we've got some beautiful little golden garlics. And if you've never fried garlic in butter before, you have to give it a try. I mean, mix these with some roasted potatoes. Oh, they're so good. And now we've got some garlic infused butter. Now, the only problem is this garlic is just incredibly soft right now, which is exactly what we want at the end of the dish. But for right now, it'll be really hard to insert these into incisions made in the lamb. So I'm going to pop these in the fridge overnight as well to firm up. Then tomorrow we'll finish the process. Also, if you made it this far into the video, let me know in the comments below where you're watching from, because historically on this channel, lamb videos do not perform well because it's not that popular here in the States. So I want to see if we got a lot of UK and Australians watching. But thanks for being here. I'll see you tomorrow. One dry brine later. This thing is coming out of the fridge and looking absolutely beautiful. That rub is definitely tacked on there nicely, not falling off or going anywhere. And I can smell the rub still, which is great, meaning all those herbs and spices have hydrated. But now it's time to fill this thing up with garlic. So I'm gonna go ahead and flip it over. And then I'm gonna take my little knife here and just make a little incision, about the size of 1 clove of garlic. And I got our confit garlic over here. I did pop this in the freezer for just like 10 minutes just to get these a little bit more firm because they were still really squishy and I don't want these to like mush too much. And we're just gonna kind of go on in, just like a little boop. Oh, beautiful. And we're just gonna repeat that all over this little lamb leg. Loving this technique, because that garlic will thaw out very quickly and then be incredibly tender and give us a bunch of great flavor. We'll go nice and deep with that one. And we're just gonna repeat this all over this bad boy. Take one of these big ones. Yep, beautiful. And just like that, all of that garlic has been put into this chunk of lamb and everything is still looking absolutely beautiful. And I did save this in case I wanted to put it back in here, but you know what? I think it's laying pretty flat. There's no big gashes or anything I'm too worried about, and I don't really want to fold it up too much. So I think we're gonna just cook it as is. So really all we gotta do now is fire up the pit. Oh, Jesus. I thought I was rid of you, but alas, there is a snake in my boot. And on the pit we go. Got a classic post oak fire in there. And we're gonna pop this bad boy right in the middle, right where we'd put a brisket or something like that. And we're gonna rock a pretty low temperature at first, maybe 225-ish, 250-ish. And that's just because we're bringing this up to 120 degrees internal, so we wanna get some good smoke flavor on there without cooking it too quickly. But with a cut like this, you got plenty of options. You could make pulled lamb out of it by taking it up to a higher temperature. You could confit it, you could braise it. If you got it bone in, you could kind of shave it off the bone like a ham or something. But today we're gonna keep it pretty simple, kind of treat it more like a prime rib, where we'll get some good smoke flavor on there, some good color on it, and slowly bring it up to about 120 internal, which should only take a couple hours, but I will keep you posted. Ah, feels right to be smoking on the old offset again. 2.5 hours later, this thing is looking good. Got some beautiful color to it, loving that golden brown we got. Nothing's looking too crispy or burnt. We were right around 250 degrees for most of this cook. And probing it, we're right around 118, 120 in the thickest part. This thin bit is probably gonna be a little more overcooked. Yeah, that's at 134, which is fine. Makes this a good cut for the whole family. A little bit more well done over here and nice and rare on this side. But I do really love the color on that. It looks almost like a turkey breast, but off it comes. So now we're gonna set this aside for the next little bit to completely carry over and cool down a little bit and give it a good rest, which gives us plenty of time to knock out a very quick and easy sauce. Starting with 1 part of Alfregoni chimichurri mix, dry rub / seasoning. And this stuff is great, makes for a good rub or a simple chimichurri. Followed by 1 part of some red wine vinegar. And get that all mixed up and let that sit here for about 10 minutes for all these dry herbs and spices to hydrate a little bit. And after a few minutes, in we go with 2 parts of some olive oil. This is some graza drizzle, which should be delicious. And you get that all mixed up and our lovely, simple chimichurri is done. Now our lamb is fully rested at this point, and we could go ahead and slice right on into it, but I want to get a little extra flavor and color on it, so I'm going to take the coals out of this pit and throw them into that pit. Got this Chud box ripping hot at around 350, 400 degrees. And now we're gonna take our beautifully rested lamb and get a little more smoke and color on it. Oh, look at that, beautiful. Love that sizzle. And of course you could do this on the regular grill, but I thought it'd be more fun to do it on the old Chud box. But remember, this is fully cooked through on the inside, well, up to medium rare anyway. So we don't want it on here for too long. Just enough to make sure it's nice and warm and get a beautiful crust on it. Oh, looking so good. But the main reason I wanted to do it on the old Chud box is because remember all that butter that is infused with garlic flavor we made earlier? I kept that in the same pot and just melted it down, and now I've got this little wooden spoon here that I tied a bunch of rosemary, sage, and thyme to the end of. And we're gonna go in there and just start brushing this bad boy, adding some wonderful herbaceous, buttery, garlicky flavors that will also drip down and kind of kick up those flames a little bit to give us an even better sear and make sure we got a lot of lovely flavor. Oh yeah, that's working like a charm. Smells so good. And if you think you don't like lamb, have you tried butter mopped lamb? You might like that. Gotta love the old herb mop trick. It's the best of both worlds, folks. Offset smoke plus direct heat fat smoke flavor. You know this is gonna be good. And just like that, after a nice sear and a butter baste, we got some great color on this bad boy. I mean, look at that thing. It is absolutely beautiful. So off the pit she comes. And for good measure, oops. And because this has been cooked and rested, then seared, we don't need to rest it again. So let's go ahead and see how this bad boy came out, shall we? That looks pretty tasty to me, nice and shiny. The smell is absurd. I think we'll just start on this thick end, shall we? And there it is, folks. Check out that garlic studdage in there, stayed in there nicely. Beautiful color on that. Definitely more medium than medium rare, but I'm okay with it. And because I was really trying to get a lot of color on that fat cap, we got a little bit of a gray band, or a white band in this case. But that's looking good. It also appears that I probably should have cut this the other direction to cut against the grain, but I didn't know that, and I'm okay with it. But look at all that garlic in there, nice and juicy. Pretty cool. I'm gonna try and get some thinner slices on this thing, which is the beauty of the boneless. It makes carving this up way easier. Taking a look at the thin end that I just cut into, that's looking nice and juicy. Oh yeah, decent amount of fat on top as well. There's a lot of fat on this thick side right in there a little bit that I probably would have taken out if I had known about it, but all in all, I think this is gonna be a very tasty roast. Tell you one thing though, not the easiest thing in the world to cut. Multiple muscles, fat cap got pretty crispy on top. Might be interesting to kind of separate these two individual muscles from the start and cook them on their own, but that is an experiment for another day. And of course, nothing wrong with one last, oops, little extra butter, little extra flavor. Gotta say, folks, when it's all sliced up in a big old mound, the smells are calling my name. We got our chimichurri and a big pile of meat, and I think it's time to see how this came out. I do love that garlic studded meat, folks. I might have to do that with a brisket or something, because that's just calling my name. In fact, let's go for a nice garlicky bite, shall we? Yep. That is just fantastic. Zero gaminess to that bite. It's just so meaty. I want to say beefy, but it's just lammy. It's good. No off flavor profiles. That rub is fantastic. It's nice and buttery, and the herbs are coming through, and that garlic is just impossibly tender and so buttery and just very tasty stuff. I haven't had lamb in a minute. Pretty excited about this one. And something tells me it's going to pair very well with some Fragoni chimichurri. Oh yeah. The brightness and the richness from that sauce pairs so well with this lamb, you know? More herbs, more flavor. That olive oil is fantastic on this as well. The beauty of a leg of lamb is it's somewhat lean. You know, there's definitely pockets of fat and a fat cap on top. And if you go in the middle, you got pieces like that. But a lot of the gaminess in lamb and goat and stuff is found in the fat. So let's give this big fatty piece a try and see how that came out. Melts. That is so good. That is phenomenal. Zero gamey flavor to that. I'm not sure if it's because this is a New Zealand lamb or what, but lamb can be kind of hit or miss for me when it comes to the gaminess, which is why I usually stick to like a rack of lamb or a lamb chop, but this one tastes fantastic. Ladies,
yes.
Would you like some smoked lamb?
Yeah.
I cut it up into a bunch of little bite-sized pieces for you.
That was so gentlemanly of you.
And Brooke goes right for a full slice.
Well,
I
like
wanted
the
this
fatty.
little bit. Okay, what's this? Churri?
That is chimichurri, yeah.
Oh my gosh. I don't even need the chimichurri.
Probably not, but it looks good.
Holy moly.
It is nice. Adds a nice acidity.
Oh, dude, it's so good.
What cut is this?
This is a boneless leg of lamb. Unfortunately, not the most presentable cut in the world. Big pile on the table here.
Wait,
good.
so you shoved it with garlic?
Okay.
It is so good.
See the garlic is
I don't
poking.
think I've liked a lamb more than this one.
Really?
I will go for this piece though, because it has the garlic inside.
I was gonna say, I just got a garlic piece. This kind of tastes like steak, but like, oh god. But then there's like the after, like lamb flavor.
Yeah.
No.
Lamb flavor, like the gaminess a lot of people talk about, it's not very present in this.
I don't
It's
think
my
so at all,
favorite.
yeah.
I think it's perfect.
Yeah, it's very steaky, but it's definitely lamb in a good way.
Yeah.
Have you ever cooked with goat before?
I love goat. It's so good.
I don't think that's my favorite.
I like goat more than lamb.
You don't like goat cheese though.
It's been growing on me,
It
but
is my favorite cheese too. Oh, you know what?
I love goat
my
cheese.
Chinese sign is? It's a goat.
really?
It's a goat.
Well, let's go find a goat. As soon as I get a full-size chud box, we're gonna do a whole goat on the channel. We did that a couple times at Leroy and Lewis, and it was some of the best meat I've ever had.
My grandpa used to bring in whole skin goats, and they would sit on the counter, and the tongue would be like, and he would be like, Mahita, you want the eyeball? It makes you smart. And I'm like, no, I don't want the eyeball.
I love that little fat cap on top too. So good.
I ate the whole fat cap.
All right, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this chunk, we'll bring it down to the chud chop, put it on the meat slicer, and make some Lambo Sandos.
See how
Lambo
much?
Sando.
That's my favorite thing.
We will now leave Lauren to eat all of this off camera.
I'm gonna go wash my hands.
I mean, just look at how juicy that is. It's so tender. I'm gonna keep cutting this up because I want more. Oh. And with this lovely bite of lamb, I think it's time for the official taste test. Ooh. All right, y'all, and that is it. That is how to make an absolutely fantastic, smoky, boneless leg of lamb. I highly recommend giving this one a try. You know, generally speaking, these are pretty easy to find. And that was what, like a 3-hour cook? It makes for a great centerpiece roast on your holiday table or just, you know, any Sunday dinner. And definitely something I'll be doing again very soon. But all that being said, if you enjoyed this video, let me know by hitting that subscribe button. Let YouTube know by dropping a like on this video. If you do give this recipe a try for yourself, be sure to tag me on Instagram at Chuds BBQ. I'd love to see what y'all are cooking. Big shout out to all the Patreon members. Thank you for supporting Team Chud and allowing me to keep making all these videos. And until the next time I see you, please go cook something outside. Peace.